In his massive money bin, Scrooge McDuck swam through his gold coins, a satisfied grin on his beak. Every penny earned through sweat and shrewdness, he'd proclaim. But even the sharpest mind in Duckburg had moments he'd rather forget. These are the tales of his most spectacular financial flops. Driving through a desert, a dehydrated Scrooge saw a shimmering oasis. Convinced it was a prime location for a bottled water empire, McDuck's Mirage Water, he bought the land for a fortune. The oasis, of course, was a mirage. He was left with a deed to 1,000 acres of dry sand. Hearing the future was in submarine sandwiches, Scrooge didn't wait for details. He invested his money in a literal military submarine, hired chefs, and tried to sell sandwiches underwater. The only thing that got soaked was his investment. The bread was too soggy, he grumbled. During a craze for pet rocks, Scrooge saw an opportunity. He invested in a gadget that made rocks talk. It was just a small recorder. The rocks would endlessly repeat, "I am a rock." They were a huge hit with bored teenagers, but a total dud for making a profit. Scrooge hated how his soda got watered down. So, he poured money into inventing a self-warming ice cube that would chill a drink then vanish without a trace. The prototype worked too well, boiling his orange juice instead. The only thing that evaporated was his cash. To make even more gold, Scrooge funded a machine that painted things to look like gold. He planned to sell them as cheap trophies. The paint was more expensive than real gold. He was left with a warehouse full of gold-plated paperweights and a colossal loss. Trying to capitalize on winter, Scrooge sold a kit for building a snowman in any climate. It contained 3 white balls and a carrot. Customers in sunny places were baffled. "Where's the snow?" they asked. "That's an extra charge," Scrooge replied, missing the point entirely. After a drought hurt his farms, Scrooge invested in a personal raincloud. It followed him around, but only dripped on him. He was constantly soggy, and his crops remained dry. He finally sold it to his nemesis, Flintheart Glomgold, who also got perpetually drenched. To save on washing costs, Scrooge launched a line of edible spoons and forks. They were made of dry, tasteless cereal. They either went soggy in soup or broke on a steak. Diners were left hungry and confused, with mouths full of useless, mushy utensils. He once tried to invent a new kind of sale, the reverse auction. The price started high and went down. Customers, confused, just waited until the price hit zero. They got everything for free, and Scrooge nearly had a heart attack counting his losses. In a bid to avoid property taxes, Scrooge tried to make his money bin float by filling it with helium. The calculation was wrong. The bin didn't float away, but all his money did. It took him a week to chase down all his floating dollar bills. Scrooge noticed everyone copying the first successful product, so he decided to only invest in the second version of everything. He ended up with a warehouse full of inferior knockoffs nobody wanted. Being second is fine, he learned, but only if you're first at being second. He bought land to build a historical park where people could relive the thrill of the Great Depression. No one wanted to pay for that. The only visitor was Donald Duck, who said it felt too much like his everyday life. After each failure, Scrooge would sit in his bin, fuming. But then he'd take out his ledger and write down what he learned. Number 1, never trust a desert. Number 2, a submarine is for sailing, not for salads. Each loss taught him to be sharper, tougher, and wiser. Despite his vast wealth, Scrooge never forgot the first dime he ever earned. These failed ventures, while painful, reinforced his core belief. True wealth isn't just about making money, but about the grit, ingenuity, and lessons learned from every single failure. So, while Scrooge McDuck loves to celebrate his brilliant successes, he also secretly values his epic fails. They're the scars of a life lived boldly in business. They remind him that even the richest duck in the world can make a foolish mistake, but never twice. The end.